we need to update. Probably won't get that all done before the end of the semester, but we're trying to focus on some very specific items that need our attention. Most importantly right now involves membership, and so we're going to be revising how membership dues are done, as well as membership opportunities for part-time faculty. So. And that's being reviewed right now. We are in the middle of YFA elections. Or they will be starting soon. We just had the nomination process end last Friday, and so the votes balloting will start happening, I think, next Monday. And so we have several rep council positions as well as exec board positions up for election. You probably, if you've been hearing the rumors, I am not running for re-election. I've done this for 4 years. It's time to pass the baton to somebody else. So we have other people stepping forward. I'm sure we're going to be in good hands on that. And so then I'll report the outcome of that at the April board meeting. And then my term ends on April 30th. So the new president will start on May 1st. And then finally, we've done in the past a social at MJC in December for faculty, and we've done a social for Columbia faculty in the month of April, right before graduation. And we decided that we wanted to do a social that got everyone together. So we're going to launch our first annual YFA social on April 19th, which I think happens to be Good Friday. But we want both full and part-time faculty to show up in Oakdale at this, and hopefully this will be an annual event where we can enjoy each other's company and socialize, and so hope it turns out well. That's what I have tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Next we have CSEA. No, we don't.
Oops.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Joey Partridge. I'm stepping in for Sherry Suarez. I'm giving the CSEA report. She's still down in Modesto. So CSEA and district have met about negotiations 3 times. We have some more scheduled. I hope you are getting the information that's coming from the meetings. Last time we spoke, I had a very passionate speech about the care of our employees. After speaking, I had many classified faculty, administration talking to me, thanking me about they all felt the same way. I know at least at this college, we've made a turn for the better. I have a little story to prove my point. I was walking out of Manzanita, going down to Oak Pavilion a couple days ago. I happened to walk out the door at the same time Dr. B walked out of his door. And I see this gentleman walk out of his door, 3-piece suit, looking all really professional, got this briefcase, umbrella. He is dressed to the T. He's going somewhere. He sees me come out. We start chatting. We say, hey, how are you doing? He said, great, just passing pleasantries talk, a little bit of negotiation talk. As we're walking down, he's like, hey, I'll just share my umbrella. I said, that's great, Dr. B. We'll walk together. So we're heading down. We get to the parking lot, and it splits. So I'm going back down to Oak, and he's going down to the parking lot. I'm just wearing a jacket. He says, wait, do you want my umbrella? No, it's okay. I'm okay. I'm just going to walk a little longer. And I can see the frustration, like, no, are you sure you want this? Like you can have it. It's okay. It's like, no, I'm okay. Thank you. So I just want to know, I want to thank Dr. B for this road that we're on, and I want to keep it going the same way, and I appreciate all the work he's doing so far, and I hope the road follows behind him with everybody else. Is there any questions? Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next we have the faculty rep to the board, Alan McKissick.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. I want to mention that I have spoken to almost all the trustees since last we met, and I have conveyed the goodwill they expressed to the faculty. I understand that at the invitation of President Santanu, most board members participated in what was called a coffee today, in which they talked with a significant number of their constituents. I know this is the kind of effort that a number of trustees have been hoping for, and President Upas wishes to facilitate the same effort at MJC. I know that would get a very positive reaction from MJC faculty. Speaking of communication, President Hoop has visited the MJC Academic Senate, where he was very well received. He emphasized his open door policy and the philosophy behind it. I'd like to continue with some remarks I brought with me that I realized that they're a follow-up on what those student government leaders had to say. And this was occasioned by some emails that have been going back and forth discussing some of our students who are homeless, food insecure, and so on and so forth. It's a version of something I wrote to some colleagues. There's recently been a great deal of discussion about some of our students that need extra help because they're homeless, food insecure, lack the means to maintain basic personal hygiene, and so on. There's been an upsurge of interest, partly occasioned by a press release from the California Community College Chancellor's Office with the lead. New survey of California community college students reveals that half face food insecurity and nearly 20% have faced homelessness. Last week, I saw a presentation made to the Columbia College Academic Senate on a survey that included very similar statistics about the students at this college. All this made me think back to my own higher education. I attended Glendale Community College at a time when it was tuition free. Costed me only a $6 health fee per semester for services at the college I was lucky enough to never need. Books were only about $50 a semester, and the first couple of times I needed them, a friend's father stepped in and took care of that. Furthermore, at the time, the state of California contributed $135 a month for my living expenses, which some would call welfare, until I reached the age of 21. My parents' income level, the fact that I was on my own, and my status as a full-time student qualified me for that assistance available at the time. I graduated with my AA degree and transferred the maximum units possible to Cal State LA in order to take maximum advantage of those free semesters at the community college. Of course, nothing is free. The taxpayers paid for my education. That monthly stipend and other services. When I got to Cal State LA, tuition was $65 a quarter, virtually a token amount, and books were still cheap. Graduate school for me was enabled by a teaching assistantship. In other words, the university paid me to go to graduate school. During my college education, I studied diligently, I lived quite modestly, I worked part-time, sometimes full-time. I can trade war stories about short-term employment, roommates, and less than desirable dwellings. However, I never say that I put myself through school. That would be nonsense. For the most part, the taxpayers did it, along with some lucky breaks and a few more helping hands here and there. I strongly believe that the taxpayers made an investment in me that they have recouped many times over, not just because April 15th is coming up, but because of the work I do. I also believe the fact that we are talking about homeless, food insecure, and so on, college students can justify the taxpayers' additional investment in them, even if we are only looking at this in financial terms, which of course we are not. It seems especially important to invest more in those students most at risk of a greatly reduced lifetime income, incurring other social costs, and so on, in a region that has been called the Appalachia of the West. Some skepticism has been expressed about the statistics in the Chancellor's report, and some concern expressed about undermining the important virtue of self-reliance. We should bear in mind that skepticism is a necessary part of critical thinking. We should be willing to double-check our premises, and divergent opinions are necessary to this critically important conversation. But I think it has been established that many homeless, food insecure, and so on students are working part-time and are striving just as hard as any of us did. Some of those students are working full-time. So, could there be some students who game the system, which might include taking unfair advantage of free lunch on Wednesdays or the free laundry services that Columbia College is facilitating in partnership with a generous community benefactor, and so on? Let's stipulate that will happen. I do not find that discouraging in the least. It is just a small cost of doing business from this taxpayer's point of view. When my wife saw this, she supported the sentiments and immediately brought up her own journey that began as a broke single mother and returning student. She started MJC in a reading class and remedial math class, which she took mostly to build her confidence. She also got a part-time job as a driver with the Stanislaus County Library. Since then, and largely because of our state's investment in her, she graduated with honors from both MJC and Stanislaus State and earned her Master's of Information Science from San Jose State on her way to becoming a professional librarian. She is currently the Deputy County Librarian for Merced County. As a public librarian, she has plenty of contact with the homeless and with other disadvantaged people in our region. She summed up her philosophy as this: yes, people can pull themselves up by their own bootstraps, but first they have to have boots. A colleague sent me something today, and my first full-time teaching job was temporary at Cal Poly Pomona. This is from Cal Poly SLO. Since I taught at a Cal Poly, tuition and fees have gone up 716%. Furthermore, the same article had a graph on what it takes to work through college. Hours of work per week required to cover Cal Poly's total estimated costs. And from the time I taught there, when it would take maybe 22 hours a week of work for a student to pay their own way, it has now increased to about 50 hours a week. That's what it would cost a student to go to Cal Poly if they're paying all their own expenses. I also heard another startling statistic today, the last one I'll mention, that the student debt in this country is now larger in total than the entire credit card debt of everybody in the country. So I just really want to commend what our colleagues at both colleges, our student partners, community partners, the trustees, and so on are doing for those students and the investment they're making. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we are up to the Academic Senate reports. I don't know who's going first. Yes, I do.
I lost. Well said, Alan. Thank you. Trustees, thank you for having me. The Columbia College Academic Senate is proud to report, well, I'm Nathan Rain. I'm the athletic I'm the Academic Senate President at Columbia College as well as the athletic director. Okay, I've got a short report that I'll read slow.